Hi guys, welcome to another Maniacs stream. I have got two new guests tonight. I am waiting on my third guest. However, he's a little bit busy. I'll tell you who it is. It's Martin from the Hobby Lodge. He didn't realise when he agreed to do this that it was his son's birthday, so he is running a little bit late, but we won't hold that against him. Some things have to come first. But I'm going to introduce my first guest. You should all know him, James from It's Much More. How's it going, James?
Everybody? How you doing, Lee? You all right?
Yeah, I'm not bad. You?
I'm all good. Yes, I'm all good. Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me on. Glad to be here.
It's always good to have someone I like to get new people on where I can, because otherwise it's just the same discussions, the same faces. You know, it's just nice to have a bit of variety. And obviously, you've got a lot going on at the moment, which we're going to discuss, so that'll be good. And obviously, I better bring you a partner in crime in, which is Alex. Is it Games Re-Up? Am I saying it right?
You're saying it right. Yeah,
I am.
Games
Right. Okay. Let's add Alex in.
Hello, Alex, how are we doing? Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I'm very aware that the chat is going mad at the moment. There's a few people in there. So let's have a look through
the got tonight.
Yeah, well, it's not a bad thing. It'd be worse if no one was watching, wouldn't
it? Well, they will now that they've seen me and Alex.
So I've got Pixel Plug. How you doing, Pixel Plug? Oh, who's this guy? I don't know who he is.
Block him.
Yeah, get rid of him. ZX Tetley. How you doing, Lee? I'll tell you, there's so many Lees now. There's me, there's Chef, there's ZX Tetley as well. Like, it's getting very confusing now. Sire, I did see a comment actually before we started where Sire was moaning at me for being late.
We're all human, right?
Yeah. There you go. Can't leave. We are waiting. Tetley, hope you are good. Yeah, there's a little bit of talk between the boys. Yeah, Chef's here. How you doing, Chef? Hope you're good. And my eldest, he's here too. So that's the thing. My eldest, he watches. My youngest, he's sitting in there on his PS5. He couldn't care less. In fact, I had to remind him before I come on here because he was shouting actually down his headset. I was like, please keep that down. Right, okay.
People playing nowadays on PS5, what's the kids playing?
For him, it's mainly FIFA or Formula One. He was a bit of a Fortnite fiend at one stage,
but just seems that every game begins with F. Is it FIFA, F1, Fortnite?
That's true, though, isn't it? Yeah. I never thought of it like that. You got a good point. Underwater level. Hope you're good. And I've just seen my friend James. He's there too. Hi, Lee. Hi, James. How you doing? And I think that's it. Yeah, everyone's just discussing things between themselves. Right. Okay. So I'm going to drop you guys into the deep end a little bit. Because first topic, when I've got new people on, is always what got you into micros. Because it's always good to hear people's stories. Everybody's stories are different. And especially mine, for example. I mean, my one was I ended up with a C64 for a very cheap price, and there's very good likelihood that it was burgled from somebody's house. So there's always an interesting story between. Yeah, seriously, the guy got put away a few months later. It was a friend of mine's dad. So yeah. So there's always an interesting, colourful story. I find everybody's different. So yeah, I guess what I'm asking, James, do you want to go first? What got you into micros?
Yeah, sure. I'm a brother, my elder brother and my younger brother. So I'm a brother of three. And my eldest brother had an Amstrad CPC464. His best mate had a Spectrum, and his mate had a Commodore. So it's a case of whenever they released all the games, we used to go around there and check all the different versions. So on the back of the cases, it's like, this is a Spectrum one. So we had a look at that. And then because it was passed down by generations, I got my brother's Amstrad and all the games. So the Hit Squads, the not Commodores, the Codemasters, everything, the budget range games, Amstrad Actions. So I first started to get the Amstrad Action magazine. So when it comes to the cover tape, So playing Dizzy 1 for the first time on number 1, then Total Recall as well. That was a really cool game on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what got me into it. Just because my brother passed it down, so I was playing games like Costa Capers and Rolling Thunder and Narc and all those cool games. And I just loved how, yeah,
that's a brutal game. That is.
Yeah, I just loved all the different boxes as well. So you had like the small cardboard ones and the clamshell smaller ones as well, and like the plastic ones and the small cassette ones. But so every time when I was at school, I used to finish at lunchtime or during a session when we had some time off. There was a shop in Barking where I'm from. So I'm originally from Dagenham. But I used to go to Barking School, so Eastbury, and there was a shop there called Radio 88. And so they used to have all these cassettes, so kind of like how HMV is now, where you see the big posters that are on those things where you look through the film posters. They had all of them with cassettes, like Amstrad cassettes. So you just looked through them and got my games from there and the budget range ones. But yeah, I used to love it. So every day, looking at all the different games and then saving up pocket money after a paper round and just buying the next game. And yeah, that's how I got into it. My brother had it, so I started the collection after him.
Sorry, I've just seen a comment from Chef. Have you seen this comment? Yeah.
Oh, Burt Baccarat. No, but that's Paul Young. I went to see Paul Young last night. He signed it, that vinyl. But yeah, Burt Baccarat. No, it's not him. Is he passed away now, Burt Baccarat? So if it was, I think he has. I keep that sealed. I think he only recently passed away. If it was who I'm thinking of, or was it somebody else from that sort of era? Like I
think he has passed.
Has he passed?
Such a random comment that come up. That's why I got a little bit distracted when I saw it.
Normally, if I'm on a stream, he'll just comment about something in the background, like a kiosk or something that I've got. But yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah. Alex, what's your story? What got you into micros?
Yeah, so it's kind of similar to James, although mine wasn't passed down. So my it was a work colleague of my dad's, and they were getting rid of an Amstrad CPC 6128 with like, I don't know, 80 cassette games, about 20 big box games, like disc games as well. And yeah, from there, that's kind of where my passion for micros really started. I do have a Commodore 64 now, Spectrum, all that good stuff, but my love still lands with the Amstrad, I'm afraid. Not everyone loves the Amstrad. Probably a bit dodgy, yeah. But yeah, no, games like Head Over Heels, a game called Freddy Hardest is a really good side-scroller. The Batman isometric game. I love isometric games, so that's kind of where the love for that started. Turbo Outrun on the Amstrad was great. Although you play it now and it's like, yeah, it hasn't aged well. Controls terribly. But yeah, it's something about the style on the Amstrad. It's the colors. It's also iconic. You know when it's an Amstrad game.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all started there from just literally my dad bought one home. It was our first thing ever. We hadn't had a games console up until that point. So that's literally where my gaming journey started. So yeah, it was the Amstrad.
Yeah, I've recently acquired a CPC 464, and I know what you mean. It's the bright colours, right?
Yeah.
They're very bright, aren't they, on the Amstrad?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's got its own identity. You know, it's like the Spectrum and the Commodore, really. They kind of all have their own look and feel.
Yeah.
And like you said, Amstrad, the graphics are just so bright, the colours are so bright that it's indistinguishable. Or is that the word? Distinguishable or you know what I mean? You know it's Amstrad.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean I was a Commodore kid back in the day, but last year I did have one Spectrum and I had loads of problems with that, and then I ended up getting one off of Sega Zombie. And then literally within the last few months I picked up an Amstrad. So I do have the three main ones. And I've got an Acorn as well. I got an Electron because I remember playing on one of them as a kid. So yeah, they you're right. They do all have their own thing. There is, C64 is your sound. Spectrum, Absolutely. I'd say, is your playability. Amstrad is your colours. if you was to break it down, I would say. I'm just thinking Electron. What would the Electrons thing be, though? I don't know. Because, I mean, that's got bright colours too, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's one I'll have to think about. But, yeah, you are right. They do definitely have their own little things.
Yeah.
How you doing, Martin? Good to see you.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, good. Thanks, pal. Sorry for being late, everybody. I do apologise.
That's okay.
I have four children, and today was my youngest 8th birthday, so we obviously had to do all of the things that you do.
So it was Blake's birthday, right? Am I right?
Clark's my youngest. So it's Clark's birthday.
I always get the names wrong, like all the time. Yeah, Clark. That's right.
I forget the names half the time. Don't worry.
Right. So I've got to ask. Blake. He's named after Blake 7, right?
Yes.
Is Clark named after Clark Kent then?
Well, we live in Kent, dude. So Clark, when I was having a kid, I was like, he gets to go to Butlins one day. When they get him on stage, he'll say, "Yeah, I'm Clark from Kent," and that'll be a great moment, I think. So,
See, me and you are very alike in this respect because my oldest boy's called Kyle, right? And that's because I wanted the name Reese, but the person, like his mum, wouldn't have it. So then I thought the next best thing, Terminator character, Kyle Reese. So that's how he got the name Kyle. And then my youngest, he's named Connor after Connor McLeod from Highlander.
Nice.
So me and you are very similar in this respect. So I realise we're going off on a tangent here, but But yes, so happy birthday to Clark if he's watching.
Yeah.
Everyone put happy birthday in the chat just in case he's watching.
He's tucked up in bed now, buddy.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. We're very routine in our house. That's the only way you got to be with kids. You got to be super routine with kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Right. Okay. Shall we go into our next topic? I've just got to find it now. I've got so many things on here at the moment.
Oh, down on this camera.
Right. So this is our next topic. Is there any microsystem you would like to own that you don't already have? James.
Well, for me, I think it's going to be something like the Commodore, probably, because I had a green screen Amstrad, and I still have. So all the colours and everything that Alex was talking about, I never got to see any of those.
That is a good point, isn't it? Yeah.
I was playing like Postman Pat or Outrun. With Outrun, I had to have a separate tape player to play the music. So you either had the choice of having the music or sound effects on, because for the Outrun on Amstrad, you had 2 cassette tapes. So it's like you had one for the music and one for the sound effects. But yeah, I've always admired Commodore 64 owners or Commodore owners because like there was always it seemed like more games that are just being distributed and released, and like seeing them around my friend's house or my brother's friend's house at the time, it was like, a lot of them didn't make their way over to the Amstrad. So I think it'd be a Commodore. And the fact that there's all these C64 minis and Commodore collections and another larger version of a Commodore as well, I would just like to get involved in that sort of scene if I can, because like I say, Amstrad doesn't get that much love, and I mean, it did in my household, but it just I'd like to see what all the fuss is about now that I can probably afford one game for it, because I mean, I gather they're getting quite expensive now, microcomputer games and microcomputer systems, and getting ones working, I gather that's quite difficult to get hold of nowadays.
I think the majority is still super. If you want to go down the disc route, so if you're going to get a Commodore 64 with the 1541 disc drive, the disc games are very expensive, and to be honest, they're now going to become ridiculously expensive because the discs are now obsolete, right? So, but the tape games, you can still pick up tape games for super cheap. Even if you're going to, let's say you were going to get Hit Squads, at least 100 of those of the 122 are less than a tenner each, probably. So, and probably some of them, even again, another 50 are probably less than a £5 each. So you can get quite a significant collection of C64 physical tape games for quite cheap, to be honest.
So with the C64, is it a case of how does that output? Because I mean, the Amstrad had a separate monitor for that. Do you have to have it to? I gather there's cables out there like that you can attach to like a normal TV or monitor.
Yeah. I've got the one. I mean, that's a Commodore 64 on the table just behind me there.
Oh yeah.
I've got it running out of into an upscaler to then run on the TV behind me. So you could. It's actually. Well, that's something else running in the background, but that's how that's currently connected. But it's probably the easiest of the systems, I think, to hook up to a modern TV. To be honest,
because the Amstrad's a pain. I know you can get SCART or RGB SCART and all that sort of stuff from the Amstrad, but yeah, Commodore for me, I just want to see the library of it. Give it a go because my friend just kept talking about it. So
I've got my Amstrad hooked up. You have to get a specific lead because it splits, doesn't it? But it's not actually that difficult. I managed to get hold of one quite easily. 8-bit Rage sorted me out with the one I've got.
Okay.
And yeah, it's not too bad. You split it off and run it through a SCART onto a normal TV.
Because a lot of my the Amstrad, I've got the power where you plug in the power. I kept getting it repaired from this repair shop. And they kept soldering. There's a little part where you plug the monitor in to the keyboard. And then that little bit there just always came away from the actual the board itself. So I just had to keep getting that soldered. So hopefully there's a better solution to keep soldering it.
Yeah. I've noticed we've lost Alex.
That's no big loss, is it? Really?
he was also going to say Commodore because Commodore is the correct answer to any of the questions this evening. So
he's got some issues with his internet tonight, so that's probably why we've lost him. But yeah, Martin, same question to you, I suppose. What microsystem would you like to own?
If right now it would be funny enough, it is a Commodore, and it would be the Commodore 16. It's the only one that I don't own. Like the VIC-20 was not really something I was nostalgic for, but the Commodore 16 was the first Commodore I owned. I was super young, bear in mind, so I can barely remember much about it. But games like Kickstart, Tutti Frutti, and some others on there were games that I just and also the look of it, like the brown and in my head it was black, but I know it's not. And the same with the keys were beige, but that's the one I want to pick up next is a Commodore 16, which is the breadwin style again. But yeah, that would be it.
So I was just looking at these comments. You see what Chef put here. Martin sounds sexy tonight.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, mate. I'm not sure. I'm trying to work out what all the emojis mean, but probably a secret message. It's probably a secret message in there somewhere.
It's probably code for that he wants to hump your shoulder again, Martin.
Probably. Well, I look like he wanted to involve Dory because there's an emoji of a parrot there, so I don't know what's going to happen there.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, you're right. There is, yeah.
But yeah, Commodore 16. I will definitely get one when one pops up in decent condition. And like I say, there's only a few games, but the music in Kickstart, the moment that music comes on, I'm instantly transported back.
Is that the bike game?
Yeah. Where it had lightning come and obviously you've got Kickstart on the C64 and Kickstart 2, but on to me it's more iconic on the Commodore 16. It was the game that we just played all the time, and you play with the keys, and it was just, and also like games like Tutti Frutti as well. That was a fantastic game on the C16. So yeah, that would be the. I mean, I would love to get. I will at some point probably get an Amstrad because it's the one I haven't seen. I've enjoyed owning, although it's not a Spectrum. I've enjoyed owning the Harlequin. And playing a bunch of the Spectrum homebrew games and stuff like that. So I have enjoyed it. I've no nostalgia for it, but I can appreciate the Spectrum now because of those games. Actually, I think some of them are better than the Commodore 64 version, which, as you know, pains me to say. But there are some games I think play brilliantly on that system. And I have seen some Amstrad stuff that looks fantastic as well. So at some point, yes. But if I got to pick today, it would be a C16 for sure.
So not to spoil anything, but when we get to the homebrew section at the end, I've got a couple of videos of some Amstrad homebrew.
Oh, okay, cool.
So we'll have a look at a couple of games there. They've been out for a while, but not everyone's aware of them. So one of them you would have heard me talk about before. So, but yeah.
With the homebrews, can they work on original, like the cassettes and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Can they work?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, they do.
Interesting,
I've just noticed Amiga Old school. He put here, Pinball Dreams on the Amstrad is jaw-dropping, rivals the Amiga port. That's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, that's quite an achievement, that. I haven't seen that, so I can't say. But he's saying you need to run it on a 6128, so...
One of the things I was going to add, James, because I know you've obviously love the Evercade and play that a lot. And my issue with like the C64 games on the Evercade, whilst
whoa. I'm going to stop you right there. That's a topic.
Whoa.
Hold that thought.
Hold my piece in.
I'm on here to talk about Evercade. Bloody hell, no.
I wasn't about to bash it. I was about to talk about experience and what you said about getting an actual Commodore 64. That is the way to play Commodore 64. It's really hard to, and that's the issue with a lot of emulation. It's really hard to appreciate the game without actually plugging in a joystick, for instance, and playing the game with some of the original stuff. Right?
Sorry about that, guys.
Right, no way.
But yeah, we'll maybe dip into that topic when we get to it, Leo.
Yeah, definitely, because that's the topic, that one.
Okay, whoa.
The minute I heard you say Evercade, I was like, no.
Yeah.
And then Alex joins in when we say Evercade.
Yeah,
let's not talk about that thing. Yeah.
Alex, is there any microsystem that you would like to own that you don't currently have?
I don't know. I think if I was going to go down the route of something totally different to what I already have, then it would be something like the BBC Micro or something, just because we had them in school growing up. So it was kind of, that's where I guess we had a lot of our introduction to computing. So yeah, I don't know, something like the BBC, just because it's so British and it's so different to a lot of microsystems out there. So yeah, I think it would have to be a BBC Micro.
Yeah, actually, it's probably quite a. You find that most people who have got the original, the C64, your usual ones. Most people normally go for the BBC. So it's not that unusual, to be honest. So, I personally didn't get to experience that at school. I my experience was with the Acorn Electron, which was the chopped down version, if you like, and that was at a youth club. So, for some reason, our school, I think they took the money from the government and spent it on other stuff because we never had any of that. So, yeah,
wouldn't surprise me at all.
No.
I mean,
and
it's funny,
Catholic
isn't it?
school.
It's funny, isn't it? Because now, looking back, to me, the BBC was a school computer. I didn't even know it ran games, apart from Granny's Garden and maybe the CAD program you had where you directed the little turtle around the screen.
That's it, yeah.
That to me was like, it was I assumed it was an educational computer. And even the Amstrad, the only time I ever saw an Amstrad was in my uncle's pub, and he did his accounts on it. And to me, because it had the green screen, that must be a business machine then, because that just does spreadsheets and whatever. So to now see that those things actually ran games, and in some cases ran games really well, I'm like, oh crikey, that's not what I thought that was when I was a kid. So it's great to revisit some of these things and actually see what they were capable of. Definitely,
absolutely.
The BBC is a good show. The only issue with the BBC is it's bloody huge.
It's a big system. Yeah. I mean, I suppose if I was to answer this, my first option would probably be technically not a micro, but Amiga 1200. That'd be my first one. Other than that, I'll tell you one that does interest me, and if Si's still in the chat, he's got one of these, and that's an Auric Atmos. I don't know if you've seen one of them.
I don't remember which one that is.
I think I've heard of it, but I don't really know much about it.
The system is mainly black, and then it's got like a reddy orange, sort of luminous looking. There's a few keys that are that color on it. And then underneath the case, because the top case is black, underneath it's that same orangey reddy color. I'll tell you what I'll do actually. Let's see if I can find it. Because let me see if I can find it on the.
Was there much in regards to gaming on it, or was it just a kind of a text-based, not,
No, you can get games for it. You can get games, yeah. Hang on, let me just open it.
That is what I love about, while you're looking for that, Lee, that is what I love about Side Ginger Hippie Gaming channel, is that he finds and has machines I didn't even know existed. And,
yes, that's true.
That's so cool. Like, they've all got weird and wonderful names, and I just didn't even know they were a thing. But he seems to have them all, and he keeps finding them as well. I don't know how he keeps finding them, but yeah.
Oh, hello. What's going on here?
Oh, hang on. Don't bring up your search history, buddy.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't know what's going on here. Like all of a sudden, like let's get rid of that because this has gone haywire very quickly. I don't know what happened there. Like for some reason, it took me completely out of this one and into that, and that doesn't normally happen. Like
it's all right, mate. You can admit to being a Bing user and not a Google search. It's okay. We'll all forgive you. You know, not many people use it.
You know what it is? Is that I have this problem where this thing won't stay with Google for some reason. It always reverts back. It's a pain in the ass. Like, and the worst part is I hate Microsoft as well because Bill Gates can kiss my ass as far as I'm concerned.
You're on the system now somewhere. That's been recorded.
Right. What? The Bill Gates can kiss my ass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be on Swap Shop now.
Yeah. Right. Let's see if I can get this to work this time. Let's try this again, shall we? Right. Hey, there we go. Right. Can you see that now? Is that working?
Oh, yes.
There we go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a cool machine. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty smart. They don't come up very often, but Si managed to find one. And I've got to be honest, I think that looks really nice. It's a nice system.
Yeah.
Looks like a gaming computer, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this one here, this is its predecessor. This one's not so good. I mean, if you can see the keyboard here, it's very tic-tac looking, like the buttons. It's really not that good.
No,
but it's the one that came out afterwards, which of course is the Atmos. This one. Let's get a bigger picture. There we go.
Yeah, it looks nice.
It's quite nice, isn't it? It's quite compact as well. It's not too long. You know, like for example, if you was going to say anything about the Amstrad, it would be how long it is, wouldn't it?
Is it quite cartridge based, Lee? What's the media for it?
I think you can run cartridge. I know that you do get tapes for it too.
Okay, cool.
And if I'm right, I think the reason Si got it was because it does have some homebrew out on it. I'm sure it does.
Well, that's the other crazy thing is that all of these really obscure systems, and there are still people out there dedicated enough to write homebrew games for it, which is crazy. That's why the sort of 8-bit homebrew scene is so awesome, because there's still people out there writing games for it today. And there's probably only 100 people in the country that's got one. To be honest.
Yeah. Right, I've got to remove that because there we go. Yeah. I don't know what happened there the first time I tried it. I hate Windows, I really do. But so that's the Auric Atmos, and that's the. I mean, other than the fact, I think it looks nice, but it's when Si showed it, the minute I saw it, and then he showed a couple of games on it, and I was like, that's pretty good actually. Like, if you get a chance, go on to Ginger Hippie Gaming's channel and just have a look. He's done a couple of videos on it. It's pretty good. So yeah. Right, okay. Let's move into our next topic. And since that Martin was about to jump into this topic, I think we'll go with this one next. Thoughts on the new C64 Evercade cart. Now, before we do actually mention it, I do have the trailer, just in case you haven't seen it, for Collection 2. And I'm going to push play on that now.
Peggy 7.
Right. So the reason I wanted to mention this is because people know my views on the last C64 cart they did, Collection 1. I'll be honest, they weren't good. I thought the collection of games were pretty naff. I'm also of the opinion that you could emulate these games in a much cheaper way by a C64 Mini or a Maxi. Download the games for free. Why do you need it on the Evercade? I mean, that has kind of been my argument all along. Although I would say that this collection is slightly better. There are some better games on it. James, what do you think?
Well, it's odd to talk. It's odd to see an Evercade trailer video about me being the host of it. You know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So that's quite refreshing to not do anything Evercade. I've not done anything Evercade for a number of months now. Regarding this cartridge, I'm still waiting on it because I was an idiot and pre-ordered both bundle sets at the same time on Funstock. Okay. First time I used Funstock, so I was like, saw the tweets and everything. Release day, everyone should have it. No, I didn't get it because I didn't read the shipping policy that they kept referring me to. They only ship when every item on the order is available to go. So I've now got to wait till the end of May before I can play that cart. So I won't be going for Funstock again. But talking about this cart, looking at the games, Pit Stop 2, I like the idea of that one.
Yeah.
What else we got? I've got it on the screen here so I can see it. Cybernaut 1 is good. I prefer 2, but the soundtrack on that is incredible, I think, as well.
Good music. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of these I've seen on the C64 Mini.
Yes.
So, but Zamzara looked interesting, like an alien scrolling shooter. But apart from that, I mean, because I've not got into the Commodore side of things just yet. I've only had the Mini, I've not had the Maxi, and I've not had an original one. So this is for me looking at the Commodore for the first time. You know, I'm gonna give them a go. I mean, like you said about the first one, you know, I got it here just ready, but yeah, there wasn't much on there for me either. So I'm seeing the Commodore's lineup first hand, and I'm not too impressed with what they're throwing out. I mean, I don't know if these are the AAA games that the Commodore users in the community like. I don't know. I don't think they are. But I don't know what was at the time. But a lot of these came out on the Amstrad. So I played a couple of them on the Amstrad, and I gather they're on Spectrum and stuff like that. So the Atari Lynx were Californian games, but Impossible Mission 2, and I'm going through all the games, but there's Pit Stop 2 for me then, is the game I would look forward to playing the most because I like my racing games.
Well, Amiga Old School, I mean, he's just put here Uridium and Impossible Mission. Yeah, I mean, that's 2 good ones off the new cart, I thought the first cart was a disappointment, if I'm honest. I thought the first one was really bad. Yep, great music on Cybernoid. Si's intro music to his channel is off Cybernoid, but I forget which one. It's one of them.
Yeah, I think that's where because I watched his restoration video. It was amazing on some of the NES stuff he found. But yeah, hearing that Cybernoid, whether it was Cybernoid or Cybernoid 2 or 1, it's awesome soundtrack, awesome music.
Yeah. Alex, what's your thoughts here?
Oh, probably not best to ask me about Evercade, but
well, no, you say what you think, mate. Because I'll be honest, I've not got a great opinion of Evercade these days. I'll be honest.
Yeah, so it, you know, my love of the Evercade started pretty good, but then we started seeing collections like the C64 first one, which I think was a pile of garbage, to be fair. Unfortunately, because I think, like you said, if you don't get the right titles, then why are you putting it out? These collections need to be essentially, a lot of the time, also, if you're trying to hook an audience that have never had a C64, so they're going to buy this and then think, oh, is that literally what the C64 had to offer? Now, I know obviously there's licenses, all that sort of stuff. I get all that. But it just feels like a cheaper way of getting a collection out. Yes, the second collection looks better. Like the game James mentioned, that looked like the little alien side-scroller game. That looked kind of cool. I would probably play that. And Nebulous is a good game. So those two. And, Impossible Mission, don't get me wrong, great. But so that's baby steps to making a good C64 collection. That's my worrying thing. I know we're going on to Evercade a little bit here, but that's my worrying thing with the Evercade is it just feels like the collections they're just pumping out collections to pump out collections.
Cash grab.
That's unfortunately what it feels like, which is a shame because I think the console started off pretty well. Yeah, had some teething issues, but a lot of the collections were pretty good. My worry now for them is if they don't get Amiga right, then people aren't going to be on board with home computers and the micros on there because, again, they're just not going to be putting out what we would all pretty much... Because with most systems, you'd have a top 10 to 20 that most people would agree on.
Yes.
That's my concern. If they get that wrong...
I mean, didn't they do that with all the other carts? Like Interplay had Earthworm Jim, Namco had Pac-Man. What was Commodore's flagship game? What was the flagship titles for it? I mean, have we not seen it on either of these collections yet? Or
I mean, Impossible Mission 2 is on there. Impossible Mission, Iridium's on there. There are some good games on it. Not on the first cart. The first cart, frankly,
you had Bruce Lee on the first
Bruce
cart.
Lee was on there.
That was good.
Was that just Lee? Was it called Lee?
That's right.
Yeah.
Didn't they rename it?
Yeah, but it was Bruce Lee originally. But yeah,
but it is their first attempt at the home computer one, so isn't it? So do you think they could do a Spectrum, a Sinclair, a Amstrad or whatever? Do you think they could, or do you think because of how bad people have thought these have been, do you think that's it for the home computer range or not?
I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, like you're saying, it kind of depends on the Amiga one, I guess.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, they did a Gremlin cart, for example, right? Well, if they pump out an Amiga cart and it ends up having, say, Zool on it, you've already done that on a previous cart. I think at that point people will start to work it out. But I'm just trying to think because isn't it funny? I normally, if someone said to me, "What can you think of that C64 that you'd say is a standout game?" Normally I could tell you, but right now my mind's gone completely blank.
And what I would advise them to do is look at games that are not only much better games on the C64, those flagship games, but also games that work for a handheld. There are games, I'm sorry, do not play with a joypad. They were designed to be played with a joystick, and you aren't going to be using that on an Evercade. So
absolutely,
I would, there's some fantastic side-scrolling shooters on the Commodore 64. You could even use the Tate mode with the XP, where you can turn it into long ways and play some. Focus on those kind of games that play great with the joypad. Some of these games just don't, and that's what when James was talking earlier about getting a Commodore 64. I'm a guy who very much about the ceremony of it as well, right? I love actually turning the game on, typing in the command, rewinding the tape or putting the disc in, listening to that load music, the Ocean Load or whatever it might be. For me, owning an 8-bit micro, there's a lot of ceremony to it as well, which I think is missing from a cartridge. If I just pick up the Evercade, stick the cart on, turn it on, the game's instantly there. You've missed a bit of the magic. There is magic to some of these things, and it feels a bit of a hollow experience when you're playing these games, and then you're playing with a joypad and buttons, and it just doesn't feel the same.
Well, see, you saying about control pad, good example, the Amiga Mini. I have a nightmare trying to play Chaos Engine on that because with that control pad, it just doesn't do the diagonals right.
It's because it's meant to be played with a joystick. There's no two ways about it.
Exactly.
It's a joystick design game,
I thought the VS was supposed to have because it's got USB at the front. I thought you could probably attach a keyboard and mouse. I thought that's what they were going with. But at the early days of the VS, I'm sure that was mentioned somewhere, like a joystick.
They did say that, yeah.
I'm sure it was. And I thought that's why these home computer things were out. You've got two USB ports at the front. Add a joystick or a mouse or a keyboard, and then all these games, not the on-screen keyboard, because we love playing world games with a gamepad. It's like it'd be awesome to have it as a keyboard. And then Yeah,
But wasn't there
just be-
rumours though about a joystick actually coming?
Yeah, is it too late though? Is it a little too late?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's possible it is too late, but
Well, I don't know if you've noticed, they've kind of pushed the VS aside ever since the EXP's come out. Have you noticed
Yeah.
that?
Every
Yeah.
trailer, it just goes whoop. pushes
Yeah,
to
it
one side.
literally does it in the trailer, don't it? Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, oh well, I've not got a VS. I've not got the VS yet. You know, so it's like, do I get one? You know, I'm thinking at the end of the day, the Indie Heroes 3 is going to be the last cart for the Evercade because they've announced that already, and then they've announced something else that's coming in that sort of same time frame. So I don't think there'll be a C64 cart free.
Yeah.
You know, so where does it go? It's got a couple of months left until that new thing they're working on comes out.
See,
And
this is what it is for me. They keep jumping from system to system. It is blatantly a cash grab at this point. It's not about the games. It's not about creating good stuff to play on these systems. It's about how many systems can we get out as quickly as possible. I used to have a very good opinion of the Evercade, but not anymore. Yeah.
And for me, seeing games like Data East games and Namco games and Interplay games, and yes, I know the Atari ones weren't good, but that was my first experience of Atari, and I've since bought the Anthology and all those compilations because of what the Evercade brought out, and playing the arcade games. They were big hitters back then. It's like, what's coming out now? You've got, like you said, Gremlin Collection with like 3 games on it, and like you got a Football Manager one as well. So it's like, you know, I really wanted this home computer one to be decent, so a good experience into the Commodore world for me. Because, like I said, I want to buy one. So it's like, and for me, I've seen these on the Mini, these games, and you know.
Yeah,
and that's the double-edged sword of it. Of course, it's great that these games get to be lived again in a new format and people get to see them. But then the damage is actually that if they just put out poor titles, and I've seen this on people's channels, people have reviewed the cart and gone, "My God, the Commodore 64 must have been shit." Because if this is the level of games that are on it, genuinely, people have said there's no good games on the Commodore 64. It's terrible. I've looked at the cart, and if that's the games they've put out there, there's no way I'm going to look at that. And as someone who genuinely loves it, I'm like, oh man, you're just missing so much. And this one, I don't think you're. And also, guys, there's 14 games on that cartridge, right?
Yeah.
A Commodore 64 game is what? A few bytes of data. They could have stuck 50. They could have stuck 100 on it. They could have. There are thousands of Commodore 64 titles. You could have gone, hey, you know what? For the micros, I get it with the Mega Drives and the other games. You might only put like 10 or 15 on because hey, they are a bit bigger. But you could have put 20, 25, 30 games on it.
Did that with the Atari, didn't they? 1 and 2 Atari games had loads on there. Some of which didn't work because you didn't have 2 people there. You know, so but yeah.
But my advice to them would be, like, actually look at Commodore 64 games that would work well on a small screen with a joypad. And those are going to be your shooters. Even imagine IK. I mean, I know I talk about IK Plus all the time, but that would even work, right? A Commodore 64 fighter on the handheld would actually be. I would play that. I would play a handheld version of IK Plus.
Is that the one with the training where you get the ball thing?
You're bouncing the balls and you're kicking the bomb and then you're fighting. And then even on the VS that works, right? On the VS, you could have 2-player and still have the 3rd-player computer.
There's not a 2-player fighting game, is there? Well, the Street Fighter isn't really. That's 1 player, isn't it? So Street Fighter 2 with the Capcom collection.
But I just feel like they're obviously going for whatever. Like, I guess I'm assuming most of it's down to cost, right? So they're grabbing the licenses they can, and then they've probably got, let's say they've got 50 of them. They're going to go, well, we'll spread that across 3 or 4 carts. Yeah, people will buy them, and that's that. And it's like, oh, man, I don't think you're doing the system justice.
Stunt Car Racer, Turrican.
Yeah, there's a lot of good comments. Yeah, Lotus was another one. Lotus Challenge.
Yeah.
Turrican,
imagine if they were on there though.
A handheld stunt. Could you imagine a handheld stunt car racer? You'd play that. You would 100% play that. Turrican again would play well with a joypad, right?
I mean, there's one here. Retro Ed said that he uses the 8-bit do arcade stick, so you can use that on the VS. So it's an interesting thing. Yeah. What's this here? These days, 90% of my Evercade time is Xeno Crisis is a good game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason I have an Evercade, if I'm honest. That and Indie Heroes and the Mega Cat Studios, if I'm honest at this point.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, that's early doors, isn't it? Those carts were early doors. What's happened since then? You know?
Yeah.
True. Look what Paul's saying here. Bitmap cart, that was terrible. They put terrible ports of they put the worst version of Chaos Engine on there. It was the SNES version, the broken one. What was they thinking? Like, you put the Amiga version on, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of the community they listen to, because I'm not part of their Discord or anything, and I don't really get involved too much. But surely the community has a say, or at least try. They listen to what people want. I don't know. Do they listen? I don't know.
I don't think so, because what they've done with these cartridges is they've basically gone for the same people that did the games for the C64 Mini.
Right.
They've obviously got the same license.
Yeah.
So really, they're just doing what they can get off the Mini.
And the other thing they could do, because the Mini did do this, is pull out some of the new homebrew stuff. Right, the Mini has got some amazing homebrew games on it.
Yeah,
exactly, Cytronics or whatever. So they've obviously got those deals available because the Mini guys have done it and the guys at the Maxi as well. So why not on some of these cartridges have some classics, but also put some of the new homebrew on there?
Yeah.
Again, if they somehow got a deal for Sam's Journey on there, it would blow people's mind. Again, another great game that would play amazing with a joypad.
Oh yeah.
Guns and Goats. There's loads that would work great on a small screen with a joypad, but I just don't know who's advising them on their end. It feels like, is it just a procurement exercise? Is it just someone who's looking at what licenses are available and how much they cost, rather than someone Googling what were the 10 best games on the Commodore 64? Let's go after those 10 and make a kick-ass cartridge for the Commodore 64.
Yeah.
It's more of a, well, those licenses are available. They sound like games that people would like. We'll put on some 2 or 3 classics as California Games and Impossible Mission. That'll do. The rest of it just fill up with whatever's available.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, somebody made a comment earlier on about didn't the Evercade get hacked? Now, I actually saw a video of this where a guy had he basically showed you a cartridge case, and I was looking at it and I'm thinking, that don't look like an Evercade case. Like, I haven't seen that before. And then he explains that he'd basically hacked the cart and stuck his own ROMs on one. It's essentially just a big SD card. That's basically what it is. So is this why they're going for a new system, do you think, now? Because, they're worried that it's going to get pirated,
Yeah. It's called Hyper something, isn't it? It's Hyper Street Fighter 2 Turbo or something. I don't know what it's called. But it's just all very big, bold names like Hyper, Turbo, Now, yellow, black text. It's just a bold statement. Like with the Evercade, I just liked how it was white and red. It's old school looking. You know? And I thought that looks decent. Like Alex in his background has got his VS there, the white and red one. It's like it's a decent colouring. I just think it looked nice. But game wise, I mean, look, Double Dragon there and Outrun. Main cart. That would be good.
Main cart.
Like I say, I like this being, I'd hate to see any of these old systems that we love disappear completely. So it's great that they get put out there. It's disappointing how they've executed it. So I love the idea of it. I just think the execution could be better. And it feels like maybe, James, in the beginning, there was lots of love, lots of passion, lots of energy going into it, and it was being done for the right reasons. And now it's a couple of years on, and it's like, well, we can pretty much just shove them out there now because people are in the habit of buying every cart, and we can just make money.
When you type Evercade now or go anywhere Evercade, it's just people selling their full sets. Like Scott said, like people are buying the other cartridges. I mean, from his shop, and it's just like, what would I do now with it? Because I'm only collecting the Evercade stuff because I've never had a full set of anything. I nearly got an N-Gage full set of games, and back then, so it's like I'm kind of waiting for them to stop. So I've got a full set of something finally. And I'll just keep it as it is. But the earlier carts I enjoyed playing, and that's when I was doing my videos about it and I getting guests on. I mean, you've both been on over the times. I'm sure you have on some of my streams, and Alex, I mean, he's regularly on there.
I was on the one when they were talking about the VS, if you remember.
Yeah, you had. I'm sure you had the. He was on there with the main guy, weren't you, or something? We had the main guy.
That's right. Yeah. They were talking about the VS coming out. That's right.
Yeah. So it's like there was a lot of passion for it back then. There's so much hope for it, because from what they did beforehand, it's like it's getting there. It's something I can take away with me. It's got physical carts, you know, and it's like it's all right. And the emulation on a lot of the games were okay, and it's like this is a pretty decent and quick and easy way to play emulated games on the go. But I've not lost total love for it. I just want them to stop making games for it so I can pack it away. No, it's such a shame that for me, seeing the Commodore range, this is what I've got to go with. And like you guys have mentioned, it's not the creme de la creme, as Macho Man would say. It's like there's 1 or 2 good games on here, but those good games have appeared on other systems as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just one of them.
And that is ultimately the concern, is if someone's experience of the Commodore 64 was those 2 cartridges, I would be hard pressed to say to them, yeah, you know what, there are some crap games on the system, and you'd have to try. That's just disappointing, right? You wouldn't want anyone to walk away from one of these carts and think that the system it's representing is poor, you know.
You know, someone might say, I've not looked into it really on YouTube or anywhere, because I'm waiting to play it for myself, but it's not going to arrive until the end of the month. So
that's not a good introduction to Fun Stock for you, is it?
No. The only time I used them was to get the VS, a special one, so I get my name put in there.
Oh, the Founders Edition,
yeah. So that's when I last used them, and so it's just my fault, really. I thought if it's available, you ship it out to save me waiting around. But no, it's a case of when the carts are ready to go. Because if these ones get pushed back, if these next lot get pushed back, I'm waiting again. So it's like,
sorry, go on.
No, please. I've spoken enough. Go on.
I was just going to say, it's me and James had this discussion the other day. Is what if he had gone and bought Indie Heroes 3, if it was available to pre-order, for example, that isn't out until the end of the year, beginning of next year? Does that mean they're not going to ship anything for that entire year?
That's
that's what they're basing their model on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They said that. They said, we won't, in your order, we won't ship it until they're available to purchase. And I'm like, and I looked on the site and they're sold out, the double pack. So it's like, I'm kind of, what do I do? And they didn't respond to an email when I said, can you cancel it? Can I buy it from Argos instead? But it's one of them things.
It's lunacy.
Are they run by Bitmap Soft? It sounds like those guys.
Yeah. Oh God, Jesus. You know it's bad when Martin compares a company to Bitmap Soft. Jesus. I don't know. Is anybody that bad, Martin? I mean,
well, you got to be hard pushed, but it sounds like this isn't great. So
I don't know if you two have watched any of these streams. Bitmap Soft get a bashing pretty much every stream, don't they, Martin? You've had some horrendous experiences with them, haven't you?
Yeah.
God.
Wow.
James, do you get any inkling that they might be also looking at other 8-bit micros, like the Spectrum? Do you think there'll be a Spectrum collection?
Well, there's got to be, because they've made these new cases for it. You know, the home computer range.
It's actually a different.
It's blue, isn't it?
Yeah,
so it's like a new blue color. So kind of like the Amiga. But it says like they can't see it.
Screen.
Yeah.
But home computer classics. So it's
Okay,
a new range for it. So I just don't understand why they can't just end it with 2, because people thought that was really bad. It would be so cool if they did Spectrum, Sinclair, Amstrad, and they actually listen to the community. Like I said, I don't know where they get the ideas from for the games, whether it's a case of what's available, but I think there will be a Spectrum one. They've got to put Head Over Heels and Batman on there.
Look at this comment from Scott. I wondered how long it'll be.
Case should
It'd
have
be
been
brown for the C64. Jesus. This is the thing for me. How does it sound on the Evercade? That's what I want to know. Because is it anything close to the SID chip? I bet it isn't.
I don't know. I mean, a possible mission would be quite good to hear the sound set on that coming out of the VS or the handheld, or even the brand new one, the EXP. I've not got that, so I wouldn't know, because it's supposed to have improved sound on that handheld, isn't it? So,
yeah. I know that Scott had an EXP come into the shop, and he complained about it. He said he doesn't like. I think it was the buttons he was complaining about, if I remember right. Or was it? No, maybe it's when you tilt it and you hold it, you know, the other way round.
He said to me the buttons get stuck in the sort of the Tarte mode, whatever it's called.
Tarte mode, that's it. Yeah,
they get stuck. So
yeah, that's it.
Again, I will say that nothing beats the SID chip coming out of an original Commodore 64. Yeah. But of course, if I'm buying that car, I probably have no idea. This is mostly being consumed by people that have maybe never seen a Commodore 64 or owned one, because I own a Commodore 64. I have no reason to buy a C64 cart for the Evercade. There just isn't any reason, unless it had absolutely killer games that I'd go, you know what, it'd be great to sit on the sofa upstairs and play in handheld mode. But there's nothing on that cart that's making me want to do that. Probably sadly, it would be California games, and I would do surfing because I'm addicted to surfing in California games. That's about the only thing I would do.
You go the other way round, because I know the Lynx version, you have to surf the other way round, which you used to. You have to go left.
I'm pretty sure it's left to right on the Commodore 64.
Yeah, because it threw me straight away. I put the Lynx version in. I'm like, oh, right, I'll go this way. So I didn't know if the Commodore one was like that as well.
Yeah. But like I say, for me and James, hopefully you will find this out. There is a whole ceremony to owning these machines, and it is as much as playing the games to me.
Like just put Syntex error in there every so often. You know, like for me, from the
Amstrad,
you get as far as the image loading
out of memory or something like that. Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, why is it going all different colours? The image is going wrong, and then bang, Syntex error. It's like, for flip's sake.
Yeah.
That's like disc, cassette 3 of 8. It's like, oh man. Playing Hero Quest or Space Crusade, and it's all going wrong.
Oh wow, Space Crusade. Well, that was an interesting topic, that one, because
funny, I've not done a stream for ages, and I'm doing the same thing, talking about Evercade.
Well, don't worry, we'll move off it, because the next one's actually all about you. If I'm honest, you and Alex there.
Oh.
And let me just find my banners.
Renegade on the Spectrum, is that good then? Is it?
Yes, that's the better version.
A decent or difficult game, that one.
Why can I not find the banner I'm looking for? Where's it gone? Ah, there we go. There it is. I called it Events Past and Present because when we originally was going to do a stream, you had an event coming up just before Christmas last year, didn't you?
Wow, gosh.
And I ended up ill, so that didn't happen. Yeah. And obviously since then you've been at OOL 23, and I believe you got another one coming up, haven't you?
Yeah, and Alex,
right?
you can chat about this one, Alex.
Yeah.
Because I can't stop talking.
Yeah, so obviously, our first event went pretty well. We sold out both days, which was good. And we had some really, really good feedback. We don't want to blow our own trumpets, but we did all right. And people were pretty happy. I think we did take some feedback in the sense of people were saying maybe it should have only been one day so that all of the people who attend can see all of the guests. Because obviously what we did across the 2 different days was 2 different sets of guests. That, and also people wanted a few more game traders and things like that. So we thought, okay, pretty much straight after the first event, we were planning the next one, which is obviously in July 22nd. And obviously we've changed the location as well. It's now in the centre of Nottingham. So it's not just in like what I class as a suburb of Nottingham, let's say. It's literally slap bang in the centre now.
Right.
And so literally it's about a minute from everything. So anything you can think of in Nottingham City Centre, it's basically there. So we're like, okay, we've got to there's certain game traders we know we want, like Saw Fun, for example. We're one that everyone tells us about Saw Fun Retro. And we were just like, we got to have them. So we reached out to them straight away. They pretty much snapped our hand off, which was great. And as well as them, obviously, Mobile Games Exchange, got Light Gun Retro returning as well. Christ, who else have we got? We got loads of different game traders. The first event probably only had about 4 or 5 game traders. We're now, I don't know, 10 to 15 different sets of game traders.
Okay.
Yeah, and on top of that, most of them have got 2 to 3 tables worth each. So we had to get a bigger venue so that we could continue with one of the big focuses being the talks with developers and things like that, because people said, not many events really focus on developers. They just focus on big names, like from off YouTube, Twitch, all that sort of stuff. But we were like, people want to hear from the developers because you just don't. So we've got some more coming back. We've only announced 1 or 2 so far, but there's another one we're going to be announcing shortly, and a couple others hopefully. So I feel we also possibly underutilized the stage a little bit last year. So that the stage is packed the whole way through this time. There's no stopping on the stage. It just keeps going. So we've obviously got the Retro Gaming Revival guys hosting the majority of it. We've obviously got 16 Bits and Bobs running a tournament, Street Fighter tournament, so that should be good. We've also
That's an event in itself.
Exactly.
Standard, isn't it?
Yeah. As well as that, obviously there's a Scottish Twitch streamer called Docky. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he focuses on a game called Clone Hero. He's going to be doing, which is basically Guitar Hero. So he's going to be doing that on the stage against participants from the audience. Anyone can come up and take him on. Although I doubt you beat him, to be fair. But hey, give it a go. But yeah, obviously we have got people like the Gebs going to be there as well, which is cool. And hopefully a couple other YouTubers as well. Just they'll be kind of lurking around. Everyone can go say hi to them, that sort of things. Because they didn't really want tables, the YouTubers. So we just said, we'll be at the event. People can come and see you. And they were like, yeah, let's do that. So yeah, there's a lot more to announce still. We've just partnered with, I can't say actually, but okay, I won't say. We partnered with someone else as well. We've also got Debug are making, they're partnering with us. We can announce that one. So that's all of the indie developers. And obviously Debug is a big, well, their focus is indie developers. So we've got, I think we've got about 4 or 5 different independent developers showcasing their games at our event, which would be good. I think some of them you could actually purchase there as well if they got physical media, not just digital stuff, obviously. Christ, who else have we got? I mean, it's pretty endless. And like you said, we're still signing on the dotted line with certain people as well. So I don't know.
I've got to ask: are you going to have a micro computer bit set up? Because I noticed there was some Amigas at OLL.
There were loads.
Yeah.
Speaking of OLL, it was lovely to meet Martin at OLL and his family.
Yeah,
it was really nice to chat to you. So Alex mentioned there's going to be gaming, so there's indie gaming, but we're also partnered with Derby Computer Museum. So they focus on computers over the years, so whether it be microcomputers, home computers. So there's a museum section. So near the traders area, there will be somewhere where you can play these old systems, kind of like how me and Martin was chatting and playing some like Jaguar and all those obscure systems as well. It's hopefully they're going to do something similar to that, but they're going to have quite a selection of systems and computers and home computer section. And like Alex mentioned as well, there's going to be tons of games traders. That was something different to OLL. There wasn't too many. That's what a lot of the feedback was. But it was an amazing event. We loved being there, loved being near Ali and his team there and his energy, like people have said. I don't know if we're going to let him bring his own speakers, but
you don't need them.
He doesn't need them.
To be honest, he doesn't. Yeah.
But OLL was great. Me and Alex working together, but doing something different. Like Alex focused on his Dreamcast homebrews and ports, so lots of like games that didn't make it to the release of the Dreamcast. So he had Cuphead there playing on the Dreamcast. He had Half-Life that was like 90% complete. Worms Pinball, that was the one I played. Wasn't it? That Worms
was
Pinball,
cool.
Tomb Raider. There's a PC port of that running on the Dreamcast, and like my Xbox area had like LAN Xboxes, so like Outrun, Counter-Strike, Halo.
I saw that. Yeah,
it's like everyone was like, it's something different that you don't normally see at events, and that's kind of what we do on our YouTube channels. We thought, let's just bring it to an event. But I don't know if we'll be doing that next year if they do invite us. You know, it was a lot of hard work doing that. You know, we didn't get to see much of the event. We didn't walk around. But I think the only chance I got to have a look around was with you, Martin. And I was like, I'm playing some games, you know. But
yeah, I mean, that was for the OOL. I did really like the fact that it was open play everywhere. Like as you mentioned, Lee, about the Amiga, there was actually quite a lot of 8-bit and Amiga and those sorts of systems there. There was a whole area which had like a table full of Amiga through the ages. Basically, it had every version of Amiga going.
So that was the Norwich Amiga group, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Yeah. Oh, yes, it was actually. Yes. They,
so we're bringing the Robin Hood Amiga group to our one.
Ah, brilliant.
But we don't know what they're bringing.
Yeah.
So they're going to be there. They might just have a table that's telling them, but they arrange meetups for Amiga community. So the week before our event, there's an Amiga event going on. So the Amiga person in the chat there, I can't remember his or her name. Amiga Old School.
That's Amiga Old, yeah.
So if there's an event called Kickstart, which is going on, that's got one of our team in there. Well, not team. He does. He's called Ravi, and he runs screenplay at our event. So he'll be talking to a guest or guests at our event. But focuses on just Amiga. So it's an Amiga only event. But he's in a group called the Robin Hood Amiga Group. So that's when they do their meetups and they do some homebrews. They open up some Amigas. They talk about it. They play some games. But yeah, they're going to be part of our event in July. So they were part of the last event. But yeah, we don't know what they're going to do this time. So it's
it'd be great to see if that Derby computer group's going to be there. If they did any sort of like old school sort of DOS sort of gaming or anything like that, or it'd be great to have an Unreal Tournament sort of LAN up or something like that. That would be awesome. But
that's going back, isn't it?
I don't think DOS gaming. Like I'm a big fan of that sort of like mid-90s to mid-2000s PC gaming. To me is like the golden era of PC gaming.
Grand Prix 2 and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd love to see like Screamer being played. Like there's so many great games on DOS that you could play. It'd be great to see those.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean they've got, I don't know if you go on their site, the Derby Computer Museum website, they've got a section that goes on about the exhibits and Windows 98 machines and Windows 95 machines. So yeah, we'll iron out exactly what they're going to bring and maybe do that as an announcement, because that would be great, so people can see that they can play that and learn about those systems. And if it is the first time that people are experiencing these, like me with a Commodore, it'd be great for people to get involved. But yeah.
And the thing, I'm glad you mentioned about the sort of traders, whatever you want to call them, because the thing I found, when you go to an event, you get caught up in the excitement of it all, and like you'll sit down and play a game or something, and then the next thing you want to do is probably go and buy that game or go over and to me, like, there was all of the hyping of video games at the OLL, and then the actual stalls were like, oh man, you've not got anything. It felt really thin. So I was willing, I could have walked out there spending hundreds of pounds, and I actually didn't buy a single video game for an event, which is pretty unusual. Right? Yeah,
you didn't buy anything, mate. What's going on here?
So yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, you want to get everyone excited and playing games and sharing and talking, and then hopefully they then go off and spend money on actual products, right? Which is
that's what we did at our last event. We had the guys from Rare there, so people that made GoldenEye, Donkey Kong Country, on the stage doing talks. So what I did, I chatted to a couple of the traders and said, if you've got Rare games, not Rare as in Rare, games made by Rare, like Killer Instinct, Blast Corps on the N64 and stuff like that.
Blast Corps.
Yeah, just move them to the front, because people will buy them and the devs and stuff are going to sign them afterwards. So the majority of people were buying from the traders just to get a cart for the guys to actually sign. So that's what we might do this time, with our guests that we may announce.
That's a good idea, though. That's genius.
Because it just helps the traders out. The majority, the thing with our event is we want it community based. That's why we've got YouTubers that we like doing stuff on stage. We've got the Retro Game Revival guys. We like them. Go on stage and do what you do on your live streams. Ali and his guys doing a Street Fighter tournament and maybe an Alex Kidd one. I don't know. That was really cool there, the video they've just done. But You know, it's like we like these people, so we're doing this, so we're going to bring people that we actually like there, as well as the traders. You know, we like what they do, so that's why we get them to appear there.
So I don't know if you've already said. Did you say a date when this is?
Yes, yeah. So it's Saturday, the 22nd of July.
Oh, okay. Not that far away then. Close enough.
No, it's really just over 2 months now. So
Wow.
yeah,
67 days to go. I'm not counting.
you're obviously looking at the website.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. How long does it take to actually arrange one of these events? Because I'm interested here.
James, you can answer that one.
Well, I mean, as soon as like Alex said, as soon as we finished the last one, we outdid that venue. It was great for what we wanted it as a taster event. You know, we had a stage, we had a trader area, we had a separate bar area. I mean, we was up against the World Cup final was on that day and then the Sunday, but then that had its advantages as well because there was a bar with the football playing in a separate room. You know, we had the weekend before Christmas, we had bad weather, train strikes, bus strikes, everything. So we was like, this one's done. Take everything that everyone said to us, positive, negative. There was quite a lot of negative, but that's good because we can learn from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it takes us about, me and Alex talk every single day. So we was like, what did people say that they wanted? They wanted to play more games. They wanted more game traders. They wanted it in the center and, you know, not around Christmas. So that's what we've done. So we're still planning it, but it's it takes about 3-4 months to get where we want it. We've got the floor plan, which has changed about 1,000 times because of
I bet
people's demands. I mean, a trader wanted to have, let's say, 6 tables, and they wanted backing tables. It's like, we can't. You're contacting us now. We've not got no room. Maybe if we have the arena next time, you know, but that's not an announcement, by the way. We've not got the arena. But it does take a good couple of months. But the good thing is, because we now have like the blueprints of what works and what doesn't, and for us as well to be comfortable with people walking around and not being like sardines or not having too much space for nothing to be there, we kind of know what's working. And this one will probably have lots of learns. You know, there might be some things that didn't work. People might want it on 2 days. People might want less gaming. People might want, you know, it to be more of a convention with like cosplay and all that sort of stuff. We don't know. So we're just going to listen again. And if we do another one, we'll learn from that. We're not planning the next one just yet. You know,
that's how these things have to start somewhere. I mean, you know, for work, I do occasionally have to organise events and stuff. So I appreciate how much effort goes into it, even without seeing this, you know, stuff around health and safety and catering and people and security and all the stuff you don't even see when you're at the event. Right? There's a whole load of stuff that goes into it, but they have to start somewhere. And the fact that you've gone into it and done it, and you're with that mindset of, we're going to get a load of things wrong, but we're going to listen to the feedback we get. And next year we'll do a bit better. And the year after that, we'll do a bit better. You know, there is no reason why in 10 years time, you're not booking at the Excel Center or whatever, right? And doing a massive event. Who knows? These events all have to start somewhere. They all have to start as little backroom sort of, you know, 100 people went and we had success. And then years later, who knows? So, and that's what whilst I was critical about some of the OOL stuff, I hadn't actually realized it was only the second time that event had run. So for something that was only the second time, it was brilliant. When you take that into account, you go, actually, they did bloody well. So who knows what that will be like in 2-3 years time down the line. So it's
I mean, they're smashing it. I mean, it's nice as well to actually see some of the YouTubers and the personalities in person. So like for our first event, it was all kicking off with like Gold Tooth and Feed Me Chicken and Ali. I was like, this is all kicking off in the car park area. It's like, and there was Girth Tuber of the Month, year, or whatever it was. I was like, it's so nice to see everybody that sees each other via like we're doing here on a screen in person as well. Just for a lot of them, it was the first time meeting. I mean, the world's most nicest YouTuber person, you know, Retro Ed, you know, he was there, and it was so nice just to see people's faces going, oh, it's the first time we're meeting. And it's like at our event. It's like really nice.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at a lot of the comments. Like,
nice, it is really nice to see people wishing us well. You know, it like Martin said, there is a lot of stuff that has to go on behind the scenes, like you know, the safety and the security and everything. You know, it takes so much into consideration when you do this, and that's why I'm looking more tired as I go on. But it's
seriously, James, I have huge respect for anyone who chooses to take their life and do this. Like, you know, you got Sega Zombie in the chat who's opened his own retro store. Completely ballsy to do in this day and age and actually do it. And you know,
and that's a great store as well. I need to add that.
So
I love going in.
You've got Scott doing that. You've got Alex with the arcade archive, and he's now taken his life and completely changed it, and now runs this retro arcade that must be absorbing him entirely. You guys doing this, putting on it. This is not an easy. This could, you know, this is a very difficult thing to do, time consuming, and all the rest of it. On top of your actual jobs and the rest of your life that you're doing, because I assume you've both not given up work to do this, because that probably be great. So I do have to sort of take my hat off to anyone who goes above and beyond and does these things, because without you doing it, well, it'd be a sadder place to be, right? So you know, I unfortunately can't be there on the 22nd because I'm actually on holiday. I'm away in Greece, but I will definitely try and get to them in future. I'm not a big enough celebrity to draw any people there, I'm afraid, but I will definitely be there to get involved. That would be great.
That's just nice. It's like those sort of comments that we love to hear. You know, it's like wishing us well and all that sort of great stuff. It's very tiring. It's very difficult. You know, for people to say it's not if you're doing this thing for yourself, there's a lot of hard work that goes into it, and I've seen lots of these events now cropping up, you know, all over the place. Like on my Instagram feed, there's all these events now happening. But for everyone, I just think it's a nice way to get to meet the community that we're all part of. So, you know, I know Evercade got bashed a bit during whenever it does, but we had the guys that made the magazine there at our first event, and they were so nice. And it's to see the Evercade community there talking about that and looking through the magazine, you know, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that you had them there as well. That's good.
Yeah, because like we said, it's like we took all the bits that we liked, you know, and it's like, let's have something to do with Evercade there. Let's have, you know, Rare on stage, because, you know, GoldenEye was like just got released, and even though it weren't the best one, it just got released and stuff like that. Moonwalker, you know, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, you know, there should be that on the big screen, but you know.
Yeah. I think what they should do is they should have this game on the screen. You know which one I'm on about, Martin, right? Yeah? You know which game I'm on about? This one here?
After a quick run around, the first thing we did was encounter Hobby Lodge here, taking on Retro Baited Arcade Plus. Things really started to heat up on the bonus stage. As you can see here, we have Retro Bait really concentrating, does not want to get felled by these balls. Here we go. He's really, really concentrating. Oh no, there we go. Fallen by a ball. Can the Hobby Lodge do any better? Now, Martin is a seasoned veteran of bouncing one's balls on the Amiga. He's very, very practiced in the art of ball bouncing, especially passing them back with a little paddle there. He loves doing that. So, as we can see, he's much more accomplished at this than Retro Bait was, and he's doing very well. And oh dear, and it's all over for Martin too. Excellent.
Yeah, that's a game I think you should have there. I should add that was perfectly narrated by Rob, not Gamer. That was a Blackpool, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's
good.
Oh, every time I watch that clip, it makes me laugh.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. I mean, we're going to try and get like we are doing a stage thing going off. I mean, that would be good to see if we can get something like more retro-y as well. And Knott's Gamer as well. He attended our first event. I mean, he should be. He's a Knott's Gamer, a gaming event in Nottingham.
Yeah. See if you can get something Red Dwarf there. He'll come in dressed up as Listener if you can do that. He's got to get up. I've seen him when was it on one of the streams we did, or was it? I think it was a stream that Si did on Red Dwarf. He had all the gear on. He even had the AMC beer or whatever it is they drink.
No way.
Wow.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Right.
No, I wish you guys all the best with it, and very happy to I'm sure even Lee would, very happy to get involved in the future if we can help in any way. It's a really cool thing. And Nottingham's good for me because I get to come up to Warhammer World as well, so we always like to visit there. So
my friend works there in the big.
Right.
There's like a massive
the factory. Yeah, it's huge.
It's
a huge site. Yeah, it's where a lot of the casting still happens. I mean, a lot of it's gone abroad now, but it does still happen quite a lot. It used to be called I don't know if you guys know this. It used to be called the Lead Belt because that's where a lot of the miniature factories and that were, and of course they used to be made out of lead. Yeah, the Lead Belt, that area. So yeah,
that's cool. That's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, no. If I this is a problem. My health at the moment isn't great. I don't know if you guys are aware, Martin's aware. So getting around for me at the moment is quite difficult. And I'm at the moment, public transport would be a problem. So unfortunately, I don't think I'd probably be able to attend your event, but I would like to in the future, though. Definitely sounds like something I'd enjoy.
Sure. I mean, hopefully you get better soon and your health and everything. That's the most important thing. I mean, for anything that everyone does, it's health and family and all that sort of thing. So
it's a real pain. It's kind of limited things that I'm doing this year. Like unless I know someone who's driving there or something. Otherwise, it's an issue. I can't really do much at the moment. I mean, I only went back to work beginning of April. So yeah,
it's not a bad drive for us, Lee. It takes about 2.5 hours from where we are. So
that's not too bad, is it? Yeah.
They have trams up that end of the world, mate. It's a very strange place.
This is as long as you don't have to run for them, because I'd be screwed there right now.
And there is a tram stop right by the venue.
Right, okay. I'm going to move us into our next topic now. I am aware of, as I'm going into this topic, it's been quite C64 heavy this month, but there's been quite a bit about C64. This is part of the reason, and that is this here. There is now a modern replacement for the C64 CIA chips. Are you aware of this, Martin? Have you seen this?
Yeah, so I've been watching, maybe that's where you've been watching, for the channel Retro Recipes. Have you been watching that? Yeah, so I know he did a video a while ago of building a brand new Commodore 64 with all new parts.
That's
but
right.
Back when he did that, there currently wasn't, everything was available, new seared, everything else, but there wasn't the CIA chips available, and they were being developed, I think. And what I've heard is they've now become a thing. So yeah, you can build a brand new Commodore 64 if you wanted to, with brand new components.
Yeah, so basically his latest vid on it, he had a couple of prototypes, and he had a working C64 with the is it the Evo 64 board? I think it is.
Yeah, there's an ultimate board. There's a couple of different versions. There's an ultimate board.
Yeah, the ultimate's the FPGA. It's the Evo.
Yeah,
it was the Evo that he needed the CIA. So he's got a couple of prototypes and he shows it working. They're not available to everyone until summer this year. So they will be. They're called JCIAs. J-CIA. So yeah, so you now can build a modern day Commodore 64. And I thought it was worth mentioning because I think that's pretty cool. It means that you can, even if all the old Commodore 64 is all packed up tomorrow, you could still build a C64 now, new parts. No, I think that's a pretty.
It's really, really cool, but it is also really expensive.
Yes,
that's the next thing. I looked into it, and you're probably not going to see much change out of 500-600 quid. Which, I guess in old money terms is probably, with inflation, what a Commodore 64 was nowadays. But it's
this is true.
Yeah. But today again, you've got to be an enthusiast. You could really have got to be an enthusiast to go, I'm going to spend 600 quid on a new Commodore 64 when you could probably buy 2 or 3 Commodore 64s for that money. I love it. Again, I love I applaud the passion. I applaud the sort of ingenuity to do it, and the reason behind it. Because hey, again, the world would be a more boring place without it. But even as someone like myself, there is a part of me that wants to do it, and I may end up doing it because I'm stupid. But you know, I don't know how many people are going to go and do it. That's the thing. But I love the idea.
Be my question, because when you said, "Oh, anyone who's you know, emphatic about it," I thought, yeah. So when's Martin doing it then? Yeah, I got to be honest. I'm even tempted to a certain degree. Like, it'd be pretty good.
The reason why I might do it is because I would build it in that Commodore 64 Australian case I've got. So just because it would be quite cool, because at the moment that's not working because the board needs fixing. But I could use the case. Yeah, I could use the case to it's a memory issue I need to sort out, but I could use that case and build a brand new Commodore 64 on it. But it's a bit different. It's you know.
Well, the other thing I like about this is that even if you don't want to build a new Commodore 64, if you've got an old one and say the CIA goes on it, you now can get a replacement, a modern one.
I hadn't really thought about that, or know if that is do the modern CIA. I'm going to say, I guess no reason why it wouldn't, but a modern CIA chip in an original board. I don't know. I assume that's fine. Yeah.
Well, I've seen videos when I don't know if you saw his SID replacement. I've seen videos where people have put them in original Commodore 64s and they've worked.
That's cool then. That is very cool.
So in theory, I would have thought it would work with the CIAs as well. So,
and that's a better use case than actually building a brand new one. The fact that you can get new parts for your existing Commodore 64, then that kind of future-proofs your existing device, right? So yeah, that's really cool. I hadn't really thought about it from that angle, to be honest.
Because this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, like, especially with the SID, you know, you're getting less and less of these things around. I mean, they are dying out. Eventually, you are going to get to a point where the only way to keep them going is with modern parts. So, yeah, it just puts a smile on my face to think that, you know, someone in the next 50, 60 years might be playing a C64 still because you can still build them. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. You know, so
I don't know if the OOL, I can't remember the name of the company, but there was a company that was doing a new licensed Commodore computer. It was a bread bin case, but all different colors, and there was a see-through version, all that, and it was official licensed by Commodore, but it had modern PC parts in it. So it had, like, you know, I don't know if it was an Intel or an AMD processor. So it was basically a shell for a PC, but it was like a licensed Commodore product. They had got the rights to it and everything. I can't remember the name of them. They're in the middle aisle, just up from you guys, actually.
Was it Checkmate?
Checkmate, yeah.
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, that looked decent.
They were running Hogwarts Legacy on it, for instance.
Yeah,
yeah, that looked quite cool. If you were going to buy a modern PC, you could buy a bread bin Commodore.
I think there was one as well called it's called My Retro Computer.
I think that's it. I think it's My Retro Computer,
and it's because the site that's the one that we looked at. It's like a little beautiful outer casing for like a retro Pi sort of thing.
Yes.
And, yeah, like you said, fully licensed. So if you go on like myretrocomputer.com, it just
so it's a Raspberry Pi like inside.
Yeah.
I think you could get different guts for it essentially, but there was one where it was a proper, you know, ATX or micro ATX motherboard, an Intel or an AMD processor, RAM, graphics, you know, solid state drive. There was all sorts of. I've just stuck it. I hope you don't mind, Lee. I've stuck a link in the chat, but I'm
actually looking for this myself now, just so I can see if I can pull it up during the stream.
In person, they looked really cool. They're like they're complete. And obviously, again, you know, if you're going to buy and build a modern PC, you probably wouldn't do it this way, but it was quite cool to see. You know, what was meant to be a Commodore running Hogwarts Legacy at 1080p or something. It was like quite
cool. That's crazy, isn't it? Just to think what they had running on it. Yeah, that's mad. So I'm just searching for it now. Right. Hang on. Here we go.
On the new product section, that monitor looks really nice.
Right. So let's share that.
Yes, that I noticed that. I saw that the other day. Have a look, Lee. Have a look at new. I don't know if you can bring it up on your screen or anything, but if you go to new products, take a look at the monitor they've got. This is something I probably will buy when this becomes available.
Right. So this is what you was just talking about a minute ago. That does look pretty good, actually.
Yeah, but if you click on that, see that new products bit. Sorry, I'm going to jump you ahead, but if you click on just to the right, you got new product. You got tutorials. Yeah, click that and look at the monitor that pops up.
Oh, hang on. It's a bit slow at the moment, this, for some reason. This one here. Oh, yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
Looks
Yeah,
wicked,
it does
doesn't it?
look nice.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah,
It's,
I like that. That is
yeah.
pretty smart, isn't it?
Because I'm going to be building my sort of Commodore corner soon, and I was thinking about I wanted to get an original Commodore. The only thing I don't own really is a Commodore monitor, but they are so difficult to get hold of in decent condition.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But that kind of, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's the thing I want. Because it's got the Commodore badge on it, and I mean, I could buy a grey monitor and probably stick a badge on it, but that tickles my fancy. Let me say that. So yeah, I'm gonna
Nice,
be
nice smoked color as well, isn't it? Not pure white.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. Very nice.
It's one of those things where I dread how much it costs because whatever it is, I'm going to buy it. So this is where they could get me.
Yes, that's the thing, isn't it? Really, all they got to do is just slap a Commodore badge on it, and they can charge what they like with you, Mark.
Yeah.
You'll pay it, won't you? Yeah. People are missing a trick here. Right, okay, let's take that off. There we go. I like that. That's nice. I do like that. So was you saying that then cases also came in a blue and all that as well? Is that what you
there's
saying?
loads of different colours. There was a see-through one. There was one with RGB lit keyboard, which again is bonkers to see on a Commodore. Like it's like they were just going to town with it. Really, there was all sorts. So
yeah, sky's the limit sort of thing. Once you're messing about, you might as well do the whole thing.
Yeah,
nice.
There might have even been a brown one for Scott. I know if he had one, he'd have it in brown, wouldn't he? So
yeah. I don't know if Scott's still in the chat. He's gone a bit quiet, so I don't think he is. Yeah. Right. Okay. Shall we move into Homebrew? Let's just find my little vid. So, as promised, guys, I said to you about some of the Homebrew on the Amstrad. Now, these are two games that I said last month I was planning on getting these, but in the end didn't get around to it. I plan on getting them this month. So the first one is this one here. Let me just turn the banner off first, otherwise that'll be across the video. So yeah, this is the first one. This is a game called Relentless. What do you think?
Nice. Yeah, I like it.
Who says the Amstrad can't scroll?
That's what I was about to say. Was the scrolling? The scrolling looks really, really, really good. You never see it like that normally.
No.
And the colours as well. I mean, it just looks. I know that I don't know if Paul's in the comments too. He loves this game as well. It's very neon looking. It reminds me of Tron.
Yeah,
like the colours.
It's
a nice looking game.
As well, it was like very stun run, I like, wasn't it? The ship.
Yeah, I have actually got a digital download of this on my. I play it on my Power Kiddie, like my handheld. But yeah, it's you get this from Cytronic, and it comes on a tape. Yeah, that's one of the games I'm planning on getting. The other one is.
I'm not sure I'm on board with the sound though, Lee. That's my only criticism. I'm not sure that noise might get on my wick a bit. Is there a music version? Can I turn the sound effects off and put music on?
No, that one don't have music. But one thing I will say is that when I screen grabbed that, the sound might have been a little bit too high, which might have been why it sounded a little bit distorted. It's not quite that bad.
Okay.
But yeah, then I've got this is the other one I'm planning on getting. It's another shooter. So that game's called Star Saber. That's also Cytronic for the Amstrad. And again, scrolling.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Flawless.
I think that one there.
Your speaker's made out of a Pringles can because.
No, I think when I screen grabbed it, I think I might have had the volume up too high when I did it. So yeah, so that's why it sort of distorts because I screen grab it on my phone. So yeah, but this game now, this is one that you was talking about the other day, Martin, on the Specky. You and Scott were talking about it, and I remember watching Scott. I think he played it on one of his Spectrum Spectaculars, maybe, but it's definitely one I'd like to get hold of. But I don't know if it's physical, and that is this game. So,
great game.
Sword of Iona. Yeah. The movement on that, I mean, it reminds me, when you see him climbing up, it reminds me of Flashback.
Play it again, Lee, and James, if you're not what's the actual character sprite and how it looks like a modern game, like the way he actually, like most games would just do like a frame for hanging and a frame for getting up, but this has got, I love the way it moves. It looks so good. It genuinely, when the first time I played that, I felt like I was playing like a Switch game or something, like a retro styled game on the Switch or something, because there's so many frames to the movement of the character. It looks so good. It really does. But
I'll play it again. I'll play it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Really good.
Love it.
Really
Absolutely. It's like you said, it's like loads of different motions. Like even when he like hit the side of the wall.
Yeah, he slides.
Yeah, it's like the hair movement, and like when he's just standing still and looking up, it's like, yeah, it's I did like all that.
It's hard to believe it's on a Spectrum, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
The way he climbs up or climbs down reminds me of Flashback.
Yeah.
You know, and then the sound as well, like it's really good. It's very fluid. And
but go back to our previous discussion. Imagine that on an Evercade cart. That game would sell your Evercade cart. That game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it would.
You know,
yes, good point.
it won't happen, but it would be. It would look amazing. That's how you sell an Evercade cart. You stick a game like that on it, and.
So my question is that only a digital download, that game, or is there a physical copy of it?
Scott might be able to answer in the chat. I haven't seen a physical copy of it because I would buy it if I had seen it.
Oh, look, Scott is still here. The minute I put a Spectrum game on, he's awake. Look.
Yeah. I don't think none of the channels I look. I mean, I must admit, I'm not looking all the time at Specky Homebrew. But I'm pretty sure if it existed, Scott would have bought it and we would have seen it on a Spectrum.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
he would have shown it off.
Yeah, Scott, can we get this physical? We're thinking no, but you would know better than any of us.
I think when it comes to the Spectrum, the one game that I would like, I still haven't played. Is it called Alien Girl?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
I've got it.
Yeah, I think I watched your video on it, and to be fair, I looked at that. I was like, I need to get that. I don't know if you can still buy it now, but
yeah,
you can. Right. Yeah.
The problem is it's bitmap soft. That's the only problem.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't, obviously, if you're okay with the digital version, then you can just go and get that from itch.io, I'm sure, or somewhere like that. Yeah. But the physical, I don't know if you can buy a physical version from bitmap soft anymore. Else, you're probably eBay is probably,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that on the Evercade as well. So if if the Spectrum collection comes along, the homebrews should fill it up naturally.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Just do 50-50. Just do 50-50 homebrew, and they've proved they can do it because Cytronics has sold the rights to license on the Mini and the Maxi. So there is obviously a deal there to be done. So it's just a conversation, hopefully. But yeah, I would. That's if I was going to showcase it. I know we're going back a topic, but I would go. This is what it had, and this is what it can still do. There's 50-50, and just to really show off. I'd do that for the Amstrad, the Spectrum, the Commodore 64, and others. Even the BBC has homebrew games coming out for it. Sire constantly shows again all these systems and the homebrew stuff. So yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah.
I mean, the thing about that I like the most, it's funny, it's not even the game when it comes to Alien Girl, it's the artwork on that box. Because I got the big box version, which comes with a poster and all that. And that artwork, I mean, it's, you know, it's nothing even comes close, I don't think, in recent years. Just looks really good.
Yeah.
You know?
But the game is brilliant. The game is really, really. It is the Alien game we should have got back, or the Aliens game we should have got back in the day, right? It's really, really good.
Are you thinking of Aliens Neoplasma? Are you thinking of that, Martin?
No, Alien Girl, because it's these. Hang on, which one's?
The one that was like Alien 3 is Neoplasma.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Alien and that looks good as well, though, right?
It does, yeah. And they've got that out on the Spectrum Next as well now. They've got a Next version.
So is Alien Girl the top-down one? Is it top-down?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. It's like a bit like a dungeon crawler sort of game.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, they've got it out, the Neoplasma on the Switch, and admittedly, I mean, when you look at it, it looks almost like Amiga style graphics, right? But I don't know. I kind of like the original Specky version. Like, I think I prefer the color clash and even the sounds. The sound is.
I think the sound is better on the Spectrum.
Yeah,
the machine gun sounds better. It's got better sound.
Yeah. I know that Paul was differing on that opinion. He thought it sounded and looked better on the Next, but you know, I don't know. I think it's probably just a nostalgic part of me. I just prefer the older look, you know.
I think the problem is, for me, the Next hasn't got a style. Like, it just feels quite generic, modern. I think the Spectrum, even though I'm not like hardcore Spectrum or anything, I've come to appreciate the style of it and why it was done and the way it was done. And I think that game still captures that, where when it's then stuck on the Next, it loses that charm, you know. Again, it's great these systems exist, but I like Spectrum games to look like Spectrum games now, and I like Commodore games to look like Commodore games. I don't want to see a high-res version of it.
Like I think you still want to see Homebrew that pushes the limits on the actual original hardware. You don't necessarily want to see, like you said, upgraded versions of it where it looks less like the original system. That's where it's kind of, for me as well, it loses its appeal a bit there.
Yeah.
So
this is the thing. I mean, some of these homebrew games that are out, I mean, it's amazing what they managed to do. You know, like, for example, you just saw there with the Amstrad. It's like, wow, if you had brought them out back in the day, you know, no one could have turned around and said, oh, I can't scroll though. It clearly could, just needed someone to work on it long enough to get it to do it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's the same with like most homebrew now, though, isn't it? Like, it's the same with, obviously, because I focus on the Dreamcast so much. You see so much that can now be done on the Dreamcast that's like 20 plus years old, because these developers and the people who just grew up loving them have now taken on. They're like, right, I'm going to go and create a game now, and they find these new ways of speeding things up, using less memory, all that sort of stuff. And it's the same across all these systems. It's just software is always the slower bit to catch up. And usually it's like 20 years plus. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see what, you know.
Imagine if Sam's Journey had come out a year into the life of, 1983. The Commodore 64 has been out for a year, and Sam's Journey comes out 2 years before Mario on the NES. You'd be looking at Mario on the NES slightly different, because Sam's Journey is a pretty kick-ass game platformer on the Commodore 64. And if those games had come out when we were young, it would have blown my mind. So seeing these people push these systems to their absolute limit now is pretty impressive.
Well, I mean, while we're talking about pushing to the limits, I mean, we had Jim Bagley on a few months back, and I asked him about the Spectrum Next, and I said, so, you know, tell me, Jim, is it a 16-bit system? Because that's what it looks like. And he went, no, it's an 8-bit system. He said, but we use some trickery.
Yeah.
So that's amazing to think that the Next is an 8-bit system. I mean, how have they managed that? Like, it's impressive, right?
It's like the Jaguar, isn't it? Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a mashup of how many bits and bytes?
Yeah, that's what I think this. I imagine that's what the next is. I imagine it allocates at 8-bit memory, but it's probably like the Jaguar was two 32-bit systems stuck together.
Yeah.
This is probably many multiples of 8 bits to get to, because
could be.
You can call it an 8-bit. I'm not sure it actually is, but who knows? What's in the specs?
So Tetley's saying here the most impressive homebrew lately is the ZX81. Means you want to buy one, but I hope those cassettes will be compatible with the next at some point. Oh yeah, because it's not at the moment, is it? It's not compatible with ZX81 as far as I know.
Speaking of that, I found my late father's ZX81, but
Nice.
so it's like it looks it's a Sinclair, isn't it? So it's like But I've only got the it looks like a power pack at the back, that itself, and like 2 cassette tapes. So I don't know how I'm going to play it. I don't know how. I've not even looked in it. I'm guessing I've got to get a separate tape deck and somehow some cables to connect it to a computer. But yeah, I found it, and it's like it's got the manual with it, and I'm like, oh man, this is what my dad was video gaming back in the day. And it's like,
yeah, I have exactly the same, James. I'll show you it.
Martin had a similar thing happen at Christmas. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, basically, you need a tape deck with an audio out. That's all,
Okay.
That's all you need, really.
A nice little flight case.
Scott uses like a Walkman with an external out or whatever.
So my dad fortunately is still with us. So he's still gaming. He loves a point and click. He's 75 and still plays point and click adventures like Monkey Island and all that sort of stuff. He loves all those games.
Nice.
Let's put you on.
This was my Christmas present from him this year, which was his original.
That's really
Get this stuff out of the way so you can see it. This is what he presented with me on Christmas Day. So his original ZX81 with a bunch of, and even as a kid, like there's games like this, which I can remember this being sat next to my mum and dad's sort of bedside cabinet, because that's where the computer was. I don't remember anything about the game, but that cassette is grained into my brain of like seeing it as a child. And other ones as well, like there's Reverses, which is basically I think, is it Othello the game? I think.
Yeah.
But some of these tapes, man, there's one in there that I absolutely love the look of. But I'm in the same sort as you. I haven't yet to hook it up to anything yet, so I was like,
look at the artwork though on these
zombies.
Zombies and Sword of Peace there. So I can't wait to find it. And they're
that's
probably
mostly Scott, that is.
they're probably mostly text adventures because my dad loves that sort of game. So there's the.
That's so
I think mine's a different. Mine's not the same buttons as that. Mine's
Well, you can. This is actually removable. So this is actually a rubber. This is like a rubber keyboard, and you can take this off to get to the touch cable underneath. But
it was an upgrade that you could put over the top, wasn't it? Because the original keyboards were notoriously bad, weren't they?
Yeah, that was a great present that he'd gone up and dug it out. And I even got these, which are like memory upgrades you put into the port at the back. So this is a whole 16K of RAM there. There we go.
16K.
That's what the one I've got.
16K.
That's nuts.
That's amazing. That's awesome. That's cool how it's also like your father's as well. That's nice.
Yeah. Honestly, he's still like, he doesn't collect. He's a big PC. He's got his own Steam library with hundreds of games in it and stuff.
Wow,
that's cool.
Yeah, and he's always playing. Like he loves like Seventh Guest, 11th Hour, all of those games. Point and click adventures, Simon the Sorcerer, all that sort of stuff. So he still plays games today.
That's lovely. That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember when it was funny because when you got there, it was very similar to when you got the Commodore 64. You just had a big, massive smile on your face when you got it.
Yeah,
and it kind of reminded me of when you did your Commodore 64 video. Because I don't know if you guys have watched Martin's video, but when he gets the Commodore from Paul, when you watch it, you can feel Martin's emotions coming through the screen.
Yeah. Oh mate, I welled up. There's no two ways about it. When I first hit that rocker switch on the side, I literally had flashback. It was like, oh man, that's putting the tape deck in and closing the tape deck drive and rewinding and these. That's what I talked about the ceremony at the beginning. Like if your only experience of these systems is running on some sort of emulation device. Emulation is fantastic. This is not a bash at it at all. But I do think you are missing something. I do think you are missing that connection with the system and actually using them. So you don't realize it till you do it, and once you've done it, you just go, oh my gosh, how have I not done this for this? This is so cool. So big believer in that.
It was easily your best video, Martin. I really enjoyed that, and I know loads of the lads did. We all watched it. We all felt it. It was good video. The reason I've brought this up here was because I had Ali said about the great, artwork that was on some of them games you were showing. So I brought this up because we was obviously just talking about this, weren't we, Alex? So
yes,
and I mean, look at that artwork on that. I mean, that is great.
It's incredible.
I mean, that's what you miss these days. This is what you don't get unless it's a homebrew game,
Yeah.
You just don't get artwork like that.
Well, it just feels like there's so much more passion with homebrew stuff because they're not always backed by big publishers and things like that. They do everything to kind of grab your attention, and they do it the way they want to do it. They're not guided by any sort of guidelines, if that makes sense. Or restrictions. So, and then they produce stuff like this. So, which everyone loves.
It's very traditional as well, because let's not forget, back in the day, this is what you had to work with. A lot of the time, you didn't get screenshots.
No,
you went on the artwork on the front, didn't you? And that was it.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Or if you did go by the screenshots, they were quite often like lies. They were arcade or Amiga
nothing
ones.
like it.
Yeah. That was the other thing that you got a lot, wasn't it? I don't know. But yeah, I just saw his comment about great artwork, and I thought, right, let's get this box up because that is impressive.
Lovely.
I do like the art on that. Right, okay. Well, we're coming up to the 2-hour mark, so I suppose we better wrap it up. But before we do, let's go around what we got coming up on our channel. So, Martin, what have you got coming up?
Yeah, so obviously we just had the quiz on last Sunday of Super Nintendo came out on top on the quiz. So the next quiz, I'm reaching out to people to be part of it. Maybe the 2 people on the stream might even be interested in joining the quiz at some point. That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
That would be cool, actually.
Okay, great. Well, I shall reach out and get. I'm going to be running. I need to run one. Obviously, I had an operation a little while ago, and then I had a death in the family, and that meant the quiz got delayed a bit, of course, and I'm now a bit behind. So I want to catch up and get another quiz out, potentially even by the end of this month, or certainly the first weeks of June. So that's coming. I need to do a Hit Squads update because I have almost finished the Hit Squad collection.
Yes.
I want to do a new video on the other collection that I'm going to go for, which I can see some in the background there behind you, Al, which is the sold out PC collection. Yes, so I'm going to go for a full collection of that. Again,
there's some gold in there. There's some gold in there as well.
Yeah.
Games in there.
Yeah, and it escalated quickly because I decided to do this, and then there was 60.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
It went from 0 to 60 very quickly, but there's actually quite a lot in that collection. So, but again, a huge, awesome collection of games. So there's a Hit Squad update. There's that one to come. Obviously, more homebrew. So I'm trying to get back into the rhythm of doing a new homebrew game every week. So this will hopefully be the next one I talk about, which is. I can't even pronounce it.
Barge de Morts or something, is it?
Yeah, Barge de Morts is coming up.
It's pretty up main screen.
The really cool sort of platform. I don't know if you'll get the screenshots on the back. It's got some really nice bits in it. Yeah, it's actually, for some people, it's probably old news, but for me, it's new news. So I'm going to do a video on it and do that. But I've actually got a pile of homebrew to do. So more homebrew stuff to come. And that's it, really. I mean, whatever I fancy doing, I just chuck videos out there and see if anyone likes watching them. But mostly I do it for myself anyway. So yeah,
you're kind of like me. Whatever you're passionate about at the time, you just do it. Yeah.
Obviously, I painted your miniature, so that video's out. The miniature that's in the so that went down quite well. So I do want to get back into miniature painting as well.
I don't know if you used to know your Warhammer stuff, but I picked up a dreadnought for an ornament. and Martin he paints all this stuff, and he painted it up real nice for me. Looks really good. Yeah, I'll put you on big screen so you can show it, Martin, because this thing looks fantastic.
Oh wow!
Oh, that does look incredible.
That.
It looks all grimy and that. Like he put
I
this
love that.
stuff on, and then you have to get it off with white spirit and that. There's a video on it. It looks great.
Yeah. Actually, Jen. So obviously, when Lee bought it from eBay, someone had done a very basic paint job on it. So I just took it from that basic paint job and tried to make it look a bit more. This thing's been in battles. It's been through war. So there's scuff. Like if you can get, I can't see if I can get close to it, but there's like scuff marks on the paint job and.
Look at that.
Yeah, look at it. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? Like
it looks like it's been through the wars, which is what you want.
And he did that in a 2-hour stream, didn't you, Martin? 2 hours.
Yes, yeah, that's 2 hours start to finish. So.
Which is crazy. Yeah. So yeah, I'm actually coming down to you tomorrow, aren't I? So
yes, you are.
I'll get to see it in the flesh tomorrow. So that's going to go on my collectible shelf. That'll look real nice, though.
So those for me are like chill out streams or chill out videos. So I like to just stick some music on, paint some stuff, and chat to some people. So and people seem to enjoy it. So I'm going to keep doing that. And I mean, I've got so many models that need painting. It's untrue. So
it's kind of like watching fish. Like, and I've got fish, so I know that. And you just sort of you sit there and just chill out. Like it's so chilled. Just watch you painting and talking about the techniques you're using and how you're doing it. And
I'm the Bob Ross of the retro community. That's what I am. There you go.
Yeah, mellows me right out. I love it. So, James, what have you got coming up?
Well, I've kind of been playing lots of like Engage games. So I know they're not games that appeared on the Engage QD. That's not a clickbait, but it's a case of I'm not going to bother to change my thumbnails and my videos, so I've put the actual phone in them as well that they run on. So I've played like Resident Evil. I've got a couple of games coming up for like, say, I'm going to announce them anyway. I've got the new there's a Tomb Raider Underworld game that appears on there on an Engage phone. It's just not using original hardware, using emulation, which is the only way I can really do it. I'm going to get into the shorts side of things, the YouTube shorts, and just showcasing, just talking about games that are in my collection that is actually worth owning and playing. So we've all got like collections where we just get games, kind of like Evercade, but it's going to be a case of the ones I actually enjoy playing. So, you know, if I was to pick, say, 5 or 10 games from a collection that I would every day play through, like House of Dead 2 on the Dreamcast and Sonic Adventure, and just playing through some of them. That is much on the channel. I mean, I'm going to play through some Evercade games when I get a chance. I've got so many Evercade stuff to do. Xbox, I'm kind of online with the original Xbox now, and my brother's just bought a modified Xbox 360, and we've found that the WWF WrestleFest game that came out on the 360 is on there. So I get to play through that. That never got released. So we're going to play that. It's awful, by the way. It's really bad. But it's kind of like the iOS version that was supposed to come out. So all the achievements and Xbox Live stuff is still kind of hidden in there. I think it came out late last year. That surfaced on the internet. But yeah, Project Gotham Racing 2 and Return to Castle Wolfenstein are the latest 2 games to be brought back online for the original Xbox using Insignia. So,
they're back online, are they?
Oh yeah, Insignia is a replacement service for the original Xbox Live. So, so you've got Halo 2 is not on there sadly just yet, but you've got Counter-Strike and a lot of games, big hitter games, are now getting brought back online. So you just got to mod your original Xbox, and you can change the DNS settings. So instead of it going to Xbox and Microsoft, it goes to Insignia service.
Yeah.
And I just turn the Xbox on, press online, and then people are playing Tony Hawk's Underground, Counter-Strike, everything on there. It's like, and you can still use original headsets. So it's got that. And you can also, or just do what everyone else does and just use Discord and have a voice chat with everyone on there. So it's fun. It's good playing these games again. That's where I started a lot of my online gaming, that Dreamcast and Xbox. So it's like, that's what I'm going to be pushing out more on my channel, because people have not seen it. Like you guys are like all interested in it. It's like these games are now back online. So, and even the homebrew games like Quake 2 on the Xbox original is online. You play people online with it. So Yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, and our event. Sorry, yeah, our event.
I want to bring back home LAN parties. Home LAN parties were the best thing. When you picked up your CRT and your PC and took it around someone's house, and everyone got together and ran network cables everywhere, and those were the best.
That's what I tried to bring to OLL. You know, try that feeling of like, there's 4 Xboxes there. Let's play Outrun 2. Let's play Halo. Let's play Counter-Strike. You know, that would be so cool. Like you say, I used to love PC gaming, where you take your PC to someone's house and hook up like Doom 2 or Age of Empires or whatever, and just play through those. That's what I miss. So,
anecdotally, I drove once from London to Kidwelly in Wales with my PC on the back seat of my car for a weekend LAN party, and that was like one of the best weekends ever. We just played so many games, but it was such good fun. It was like 10 of us all in this person's house, power from every direction, cables running everywhere, all trying to get online. And
so basically, if you had a look from a satellite, a thermal satellite, it would have been the hottest place like on Earth. At that point.
I think what I did was I took my original Xbox. Me and my brother took our original Xbox to a party. This sounds so like lame now, but like a party outside, a barbecue, and we had like Doom 3. I know it's not everyone's favorite Doom, but outside. So as soon as we turned on these CRTs and had Doom, it was like we couldn't see anything because Doom's that dark. The sun was shining in. You had to set up a gazebo and everything under there. So.
And it's funny, really, but back in the day, we never realised that we'd end up missing these things, you know?
Yeah.
It's funny because you're always wishing for something better, and then when it comes along, you suddenly realise what you already had.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny how that works. Like,
you
know,
totally agree.
Kind of cruel as well at the same time, because all you do as you go through life is you just lose bits of yourself, if you know what I mean.
You
know,
you lose people around you as well when things change, and you know, it's
True.
I always go into these sort of conversations somehow, but it's like, you know, all the things that we've got, you know, we enjoy what you've got now, because you don't know
because it won't last. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Alex, what have you got coming up?
Yep, so still more Dreamcast homebrew goodness and ports. That's literally all I cover, really. I mean, there are a couple like homebrews for other systems that I'll check out. Like there was a ROM hack of Popeye for the Nintendo recently, which they turned into like Resident Evil 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was pretty fun, to be fair. So I checked that out. But yeah, so I'm obviously, because of the new Counter-Strike coming out, Counter-Strike 2 or whatever they're calling it, I'm taking a look at Counter-Strike for the Dreamcast. Unfortunately, it's not online, which is a shame. They've never put it online, but it's a single player experience. But it's pretty decent. So that will be coming out in the next couple of weeks, or probably next week actually. As well as that, so I work pretty closely with an American Dreamcast developer. He's probably the biggest one working on the system still. It's a guy called Ian Michael, and he wants to do a lot of projects moving forward. So I'll do the video of his project. I'll then link to his video with the download link. So we can both basically share the audience, if that makes sense. Because his channel, because he's a developer, he doesn't necessarily get much eyes on his work. And because the audience that I have, all they come to me for is Dreamcast homebrews and ports. So it just directs it to show more of his work. So he said going forward, on any of his projects, we'll just partner together, which is cool.
So basically, you're his marketing team then?
Basically, yeah. I am basically. You know, I get messages from a lot of different Dreamcast developers who they don't have an outlet. And like I said, because they know that's all I focus on, then they come to me, which I'm honored, because they're allowing me to play their games before anyone else. So I can showcase it as you know, and spread the word so that people can get to play these good, really, really good games. You know, like there was obviously the Cowabunga collection that Ian Michael done, and then the Fantasy Star collection as well. So there's loads coming, tons coming. It's constant. There's an Amiga collection coming, which on the Dreamcast, which will be fully keyboard and mouse supported. So it's SimCity, all of those, and they've been working on that for like year and a half so far, and it's still not finished. It's because they're getting that emulation perfect. They don't want to release a subpar release, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, apart from the videos, like James says, we've got the event in Nottingham, July 22nd, and he got the date wrong. As well as that, actually this weekend, so I don't know if any of you guys are going to the Birmingham gaming market. Going to be going there. That's on Sunday. And then it's a busy few weeks. And then on Wednesday, I'm heading up to Manchester with someone else, and we're going to be going to Format, which is it's a weird event because it's kind of like a nightclub full of games and a bar. so that should be interesting. Yeah, that's called Format, and that's in Manchester. And then
sounds good to me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else is coming up, but there's a lot going on, and we've got plans for some other bits and pieces. Me and James are working together on for the future. So yeah, pretty full on.
We need some more events in the south, mate. There's not enough going on in the southeast, is there?
Well,
there's a reason for that. People are nick it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, obviously, I'm based near Bristol.
Okay.
So we'll see. That's all.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
We'll keep quiet on that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Ready here first, people. I suppose I better say what I got coming up. Right. So, funny enough, I mentioned this on the last stream I did, and I still haven't done it. So, I got a pretty big, I suppose you'd say it's a pretty big pickup in January. I think Martin knows what it is. And I never got a chance to actually do a video or show it because I ended up in hospital. So, it's still sitting here. In fact, it's actually right next to me as I speak. And I haven't had a chance to show it. There is another reason why I haven't done it, though. It's because somebody else has been covering it. And I thought, well, I don't really want to do the same as what they're doing, so I'll hold off anyway. So there's that. The other thing is that my channel, initially when it started, wasn't all just gaming. So I used to cover, the reason I called it Nerdy Geezer was because it was a bit of everything. So movies, TV, comics, collectibles, etc. So I'm working on a video that I'm going to have coming up about modern day Hollywood, the problems with Hollywood. So I'm working on a script for that. So I haven't quite got it nailed down, but when I do, that's coming. And I've got a collectibles channel, which is separate. And I've got quite a few collectibles that I haven't got around to showing yet. One of them is obviously the finished article that Martin's just done for me. So that'll be coming. But yeah, I've got all these ideas rattling around in my head and all these things I need to do, but it's finding the time to do it. That's the problem, So I quite often I sit at work because I do a night shift. I'll sit at work and all these ideas just start coming into my head, but it's just finding the time to just get them done. So I've got plenty of things that I want to do. I just got to get them done. That's the problem. So, but yeah. So yeah, that's me. Right. Anything anybody wants to add before we wrap this up?
No,
just thank you very much, and sorry for being late.
I think we can excuse you now. It was your boy's birthday. Mind you, though, I should have played this when you come in. I forgot to do this earlier.
Hello, little old lady.
I forgot to do that. I was going to do it when you come in, and it totally slipped my mind.
And great to meet you, Al and James. Obviously, it's good to see you. And, obviously, I can't be there in July, but I'll definitely be there for the next one for sure.
I'm sure there'll be something that you can attend relatively soon, but we can't talk about that.
Yeah, see, I'm intrigued now.
Oh, there's too many hints being dropped there. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, okay. So I guess we'll leave it there. But before we go, there's a tradition on there. We always do the old dodgy 70s game show wave, like on Play Your Cards Right, where you like this. We've all got to do it, and then we go to the outro. See you later, guys.
Bye.